right into it. I don't feel like doing an intro today, so we're just going to jump right into it. All right, got a lot of updates. If you're in the school, well, first of all, let me talk about the Pope. All right, so we know that a new Pope was elected yesterday. They say the first American Pope. So let's just be careful about the American. All right, because we know that when they say American, that means that they are taking ownership of being born on the land of America. Okay. Uh, Being born on the land of Illinois. Okay. So we got to make sure we're clear about how this is being presented because we know there is a clear distinction between the corporation and actually taking the name of an American. All right. And so if you'll notice, that was the programming that went out yesterday. But if you'll notice how they did and I forgot what it was called when they actually introduced, it starts with an A. So H. So if you know, put it in there. I have it. Let me see. Let me just pull it up because I have it in here. So you'll see when they did the announcing of the new Pope. And let me find it because I actually took a picture. Oh, the Habemus Papam. I hope I said that right. Habemus Papam or Habemus Papam. All right. And in that, it actually says, I announce to you a great joy. We have a Pope, the most eminent and reverend Lord, lowercase l, Lord, and then the name, Cardinal of the Holy Roman Church, blank, who takes to himself the name. So if you notice, hey, Harrison, so if you notice that they say their corporate name, okay, their baptism name, because in Catholicism, their baptismal names are accepted and also bonded on bond paper, just like if someone was to receive a birth certificate. It's the same way with their baptism certificates, okay? And so what we have to begin to understand is that even the announcement of this yesterday, it was the baptism name that was given first, okay? And then the name that they selected. So that alone tells you you can take any name you want to. This is why I try to encourage many, if you're going to do business on the land, do it in the name of a trust. Okay? It'll take you totally away from that SSN number. And so we got to get high. Okay, we have to get many people to begin to understand that until you make that total separation, if you begin to do everything in the name of a trust, okay, it begins to make the separation for you. Now, let me give this disclaimer. If you have a mortgage and you're thinking about doing a trust, there's some things you need to do because some people have been caught up in just this situation right here for not understanding how you need to move. Because in some mortgage documents with some lenders, they might not allow you to put a mortgage or a security instrument inside of the name of a trust. And if you go ahead and you do it, then they'll do something where they'll call in the entire loan and you'll make you pay it. Okay. So it's important that you understand the steps that have to be taken in order to get a trust. Now, if you have a mortgage, my suggestion to you is first, make sure you understand there are rules as and in regards to putting it in a trust. Let them know on the front end what you plan to do, and then also get an understanding of the steps that they're wanting you to take to transition that mortgage into a trust. Okay, get all that handled on the front end. And also, if you put it in the name of the trust, you have to let the tax commissioner know as well, because all of that has to be transitioned over into the name of the trust. So there are some people, thank you so much. Yes, hit like, you guys, and subscribe. But there are some steps that need to be taken in order to do this. Okay, so it's so important that you begin to understand the steps that need to be taken. Okay, So it's so important that you begin to understand to do this stuff on the front end as opposed to the back end, because you could be caught up. All right. So that is that. Um, so I want to take another step for we know that Mother's Day is this weekend. Okay, and I'm about to give an update on the global bank, but I just want to talk about some of this stuff when it comes about. So I just want to encourage you guys to go and do your history on what all of these days represent. Now, we know we should be celebrating our mothers every day. Okay, we know that we should have something in place where we constantly celebrate who they are and who they are to our lives, right? But when they put these different days in place, just understand what the history is. So I want you guys to go and research. Now, I've seen the name a couple different ways. So I'm going to put the different ways that I have seen it in here. Okay, there you go. I put it up there. There we go. Okay, so the goddess Rhea or Rei. Okay, I've heard it and I've seen it a couple different ways. So I want you to go and research that, because that is the goddess that this whole concept of Mother's Day came out of. You can always go back, you guys. You can always track this thing all the way back. Okay, and just know that we honor, like this thing said, we honor our mothers every day, every day. But as we get into these holidays, I just want you to understand how it tracks all the way back. All right, let's give an update on the global bank. I've actually sat through a couple banking seminars this week. My mind is fried from all of these seminars, but I actually sat through a couple of them this week. And one thing that is coming out of the forefront now is that for those that are receiving the deposits and those that have an account, it's important for you to understand that you need to make sure that you have an account, if you can, with a credit union. Okay, you need to make sure that when you get to set yourself up, you're going to have an account with Global Bank. We got that. But when you start kind of transitioning and transferring the monies into other currencies, okay, if you're trying to do USDs or FRNs, it is good if you have a credit union account. Make sure the credit union accounts are accounts whereas you are not receiving interest. This is a big no. This is a big no. They do not want you to gain interest or be able to get interest off of these accounts. So if you were to put it in one of the commercial banks, and you know the ones, the BOAs, the WFs, you know what I'm talking about, okay, the WFs, okay. If you are trying to put it in there, be very, very careful, because there is going to be a clause in there that they could shut down your global bank account for doing this, because it's not supposed to be anything where you're pairing the de jure with the de facto. All right. So if you think you're going to get that and then put it over here in the commercial banking to get all this interest on top of that, that is going to be a no-no. So I want to be very, very clear that you guys are understanding that they have to be accounts where you're not receiving interest. They call them non-bearing interest accounts. Okay, so that's important that we begin to understand that, and understand that when you are researching these, when you are researching the credit unions, make sure you understand it's the actual formation on how the credit unions began, okay, which is off of membership. Okay, so it's supposed to be the members that are running this credit union. And there are several credit unions out there that have this foundational makeup. So it's just important that you understand where that's coming from. Okay, so yes, make sure that we are understanding these credit unions. Make sure we're understanding that we cannot gain interest off of these accounts. Make sure you're understanding that you need to kind of funnel the money towards the credit union that are not gaining interest on it. Okay, which are, again, our non-interest bearing accounts. Make sure you're having an understanding of how the credit union was made up. Okay. Make sure you're having an understanding that you are not putting in any type of investment where it's going to be a for-profit situation. Now, that was a question that came up. Can you make monies off of it? And the answer was yes. And these are the examples that they gave. So for example, if you wanted to open up a school, well, we know that, with school, you can, begin to charge, for people to attend the school, tuition, so on and so forth. That was an example on how it can be a for-profit. So you're talking about a situation whereas it's a win-win for everyone. All right. It's a win for, you to give back to the community. And at the same time, you're investing in the community and you'll receive a return. Okay. Let me see what's going on in here. Non-interest bearing accounts. Yes. Non-interest bearing accounts is what you want to get at the credit union. Okay. Let me see if there's anything else. Okay. All right. Yes. So that's where we are. Yes. You want to make sure that you can find those credit unions where they are, or you're able to get a non-interest bearing account. Now, why do we keep saying continue, try to come up with a plan? Because when this happens, okay, you don't want to be caught off guard. You want to kind of already know how you're going to move. Now, it has also come down the pipeline that the coordinators were not trained. Okay. I thought they were going to be trained, but what they decided to do is just do one instructional video that will go out to everybody. All right. So there'll be one instructional video showing you how to do it, and it will go out to everybody. Okay. So there has not been any separate trainings as if the thought was prior to. So that did not take place. It's just going to be one instructional video. Okay. Now, this is another thing that has come down the pipeline that I kind of just put together, and it didn't dawn on me till the other day. We received a flyer that said, in fact, let me pull it up because I don't want to get it wrong. Give me 1 second. Let me pull this up so I can make sure I am saying things correctly. Where is it? Let me see. Just give me a second. I gotta keep scrolling till I can find out where it is. I actually posted it in the school on, was it Wednesday? I think. Where is it? Okay, hold on. Let me just type it in. Okay, so I cannot find it. Let me just go right one more time. Give me 1 second. What? Okay, let me go to another location. Because I want to make sure, especially with this information I got now, I want to make sure that I'm saying everything. I want to make sure that I'm saying everything right. I don't want to make any mistakes with any information because people will come back and say, but Dr. Sherry said, but she said this, and then this is what was said. Okay. And I think they took it down. Give me a second, you guys. Let me see, what's the date? The date is the 9th. So it had to be around the 6th or the 7th. And if I don't see it in here, then I'm not going to talk about it. And I don't see it anymore. So I think it was deleted. Nope, I don't see it anymore. So I'm not gonna talk about it, but I will say this. In the accounts, the global bank, we used to get 5,000, right? Deposited. And start beginning this January, so January 2025, we started to get $5,280. Okay. And I just put two and two together because, the global bank is built off of the foundation of the Hertz 528, which is the Hertz that when you listen to that vibrational beat, that it brings about healing, love. That's why they base everything off of something called Loveonomics, taking it from economics, they put it on Loveonomics. So we're thinking just, that 528 may mean something we don't know. Okay. We don't know. I do notice that something they had posted, they have taken it down. So we just got to see. Okay. So let me see. It was something else I wanted to talk about. So we talked about the investment piece. Okay. So I do want to talk about this. I want to talk about kind of like the history of this. And we do know back in October, and I want to say 2021. Okay, it may have been 2022, but I'm thinking it was around 2021, 2022, somewhere in between there. They tried to kick this off before, and it was supposed to open up. Something happened, whereas everything had to start all over again. Okay. And so now we're at this space now, and it appears things are rolling. It appears things are happening. It appears that things are developing. Okay. Now, what I can also tell you is that clearly the American Federation dollar is on the Saxon Exchange. The bank is already open. I mean, that's clear. Anybody can look at that. Anybody can Google that. All right. So the bank is open because it's on the Saxon Exchange. So there are exchanges. There is an exchange of currencies that is able to take place because it's on there already. Now, what we're waiting for is for that to be opened, okay, for everyone to be able to start this exchange process. That's why it's important to get your house in order, okay? Now, some of you are like, I'm having to live now. You guys don't forget to hit like, don't forget to share this, don't forget to follow me on all social media, okay? I am Dr. Sherry everywhere. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, subscribe. It helps us so much. It helps us so much. And you guys don't forget, you can share some of the posts too that we put out. You can share them. Okay. All right. So let me get back to what I'm talking about. All right. So we already know that it is open. We already know that when it opens, that it's going to be important for you to make a plan so you're not caught off guard. All right. Now, how is this going to work? Nobody knows because this hasn't been done ever. Okay. This has not been done ever because remember, we're in the age of Aquarius. And for those that don't understand the different ages, it's important that you understand that. It's important that you understand that civilization went through an age of Taurus. This is where you get the saying, holy cow. Okay. That's where it comes from. Okay. So we went through the age of Taurus and it works backwards. Then we went through the age of Aries. You can see the age of Aries still prevalent in Egypt where they have all these statues of the ram. Okay. The ram, Aries. Ram represents Aries, and then it moved backwards through Pisces. We literally just came out of the age of Pisces where you will have a lot of occult things going on, secret societies going on, the age of the fish. This is Jesus Christ was born out of that era, the age of Pisces. This is where the two fish, because fish represent Pisces. Okay, all of this came out of that time period. Okay, everybody again was knowing. Okay, now this is the thing. In the Piscean age, everybody was knowing information, but the implementation of it was different. And so now we're in the age of Aquarius, which they talked about in a song when I was a little girl. Okay. So we're in the age of Aquarius, which actually means action now. You're actually doing. It's about societal advancements. Aquarius is about technology. So that's where we are right now. So relating that to the global bank had to have a historical mindset of what's supposed to be, but they had to pair it with the technological advancements that we're in with being in the age of Aquarius. So those are two different thoughts. Remember last week we were talking about departmentalizing and compartmentalizing your trains of thoughts to get an understanding of what should be in each train of thought, so you don't start mixing things up because it could be confusing. And so with this, the global bank had to pair two different mindsets, okay, two different train of thoughts together. One being the advancement of technology, and pairing that with the historical context of who we are. All right. So all of that had to merge together. So that's what we're experiencing right now. And that's why I say all the time, know who you are. But in knowing who you are, there is a historical context that goes along with that. So if this is your first time hearing about the age of Taurus, the age of Aries, the age of Pisces, the age of Aquarius, if you're from that mindset that you were brought up thinking astrology is the devil, that's what they wanted you to think, because that's where your secrets lie. Okay. That's why they started that BS, because they wanted everybody to stray away from understanding that spiritual connection. Okay. That automatic spiritual connection of, again, understanding and getting our minds to that Christ consciousness that we all need to get through. When you move up in your conscious state, when you move up to a Christ consciousness, this is why you can't find Christianity in the Bible. It's not in there anywhere, but a Christ consciousness is. Okay, understanding what is a symbol, what is symbolisms representing here, because everything is a symbol. Okay, when I was watching the Pope yesterday, the introduction of the Pope, and the men came out with the red hats. Go back and look at the men with the red hats. People don't even know their hats represent the sun. It's the sun. All of it goes back to sun worship. All of it. When you say amen, it comes from the sun god Amun-Ra. People don't even know that. So when you everything is pointing towards sun worship. Everything. Okay. And so that's why you have to know who you are to understand, who am I really praying to? People don't understand when they're saying their praise and they say amen. Yeah, you just shouted out Amun-Ra. You literally just did that. Okay. So we don't understand. We got to get to a point that we understand who we are, and we understand the things, how we need to move, and the concept and the foundation that we're moving from. All right. Okay. So that's all I have for you guys today. Let me see how I'm doing on time. I think I did pretty good today. Yeah, 12:23. So this is your first time joining with us. Welcome. Go back and binge watch from our private life shows from number 1. And that's going to kind of catch you up to where we are right now. Okay. If you haven't joined our school, it's a lot of information that's going on in our school, you guys. They get first dibs on everything that's happening. I told my daughter all the time, when she does my hair, I be getting all these little flyaways. They drive me crazy. So if y'all see my hair is going all over the place. She calls that new growth. But we gotta learn how to tame this. Anyway, that's all I have for you guys today. Just making some little jokes at the end. Let me see if you guys got any questions. Thanks for everything, Dr. Sherry. You are welcome. Okay. Well, not really question, because I don't really like to take questions on here too much, only if it's relating to what I'm talking about. Because I know one time somebody was flying away with questions, and oh my goodness, I had to turn it into a seminar. Okay. You looking good, Doc. Thank you. All right, you guys, that's all I have for you today. Until next time.